Chapter 1330. They only hope that you can take Yin Yao down quickly. They really want to see how obedient and affectionate Yin Yao is to a girl. Tanguo was shocked. So what exactly did Yin Yao do in the past? The system muttered and told Tanguo what Yin Yao did. Of course, this was what he heard secretly in school. Intermittently, he still gave a rough idea of what happened. Tanguo almost laughed to death after hearing it. This fellow was simply too adorable. At this moment, Xiao Qin's scream attracted Tanguo's attention. She looked up and saw Yin Yao standing in front of Xiao Chun, punching him in the stomach. Xiao Chun couldn't take a single punch. He curled up on the ground and looked at the cold and ruthless young man with hatred. I won't give up. No matter how you hit me, I won't give up on a guagua. Yin Yao wasn't angry. He had seen too many people who said such harsh words. If Xiao Qin really dared to do anything, he could turn him into ashes with a flick of his finger. A guagua doesn't like you. Don't appear in front of her shamelessly in the future. You don't deserve the noble and beautiful her, Yin Yao said seriously and coldly. Tanguo, the surrounding students, did he have to be so direct? Couldn't he use another reason? Xiao Qin opened his eyes and the veins on his forehead popped out. He gritted his teeth and asked, why? He was reborn. God gave him a chance to be reborn so that he could change his fate. She doesn't like you. What right do you have to control me? Xiao Qin sneered. Who are you to her? One day, I'll move a guagua's heart and she'll come back to me. Yin Yao frowned slightly. At this moment, Fu Ya's panicked voice sounded. Yin Yao, please have mercy. I'll take Xiao Qin away immediately. Although Fu Ya didn't know Yin Yao's real identity, she knew that he must be from a very powerful clan in the Sea Clan. Xiao Qin would only be at a disadvantage in his hands. Moreover, this powerful member of the Sea Tribe seemed to be interested in Guagua. She was both happy and worried. She supported the pale Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun, let's go. You can't afford to offend him. Xiao Chun was indignant, but he knew that there was no other way today. He could only let Fu Ya support him and leave. Yin Yao, I won't give up. A guagua, you will understand my sincerity one day. System, no, she doesn't understand. You don't have any sincerity at all. You only have selfishness in your bones. Ever since that time, Xiao Qin didn't look for Tanguo again. However, every time he saw Tanguo, the other party would reveal a determined look. Senior, Xiao Qin hates you, Tanguo said with a smile on her face. She held the steering handle with one hand and ate an ice cream with the other. Yin Yao still threw his school bag into the basket of the carriage. With one hand, he led the way while the other hand held an unopened ice cream. He even used his divine power to freeze it so that it would not melt due to the summer temperature. So what? The youth's voice was still cold, but there was a hint of something in it that didn't exist when he was talking to other people. Tanguo tilted her head and said seriously, he will take revenge on you. Yin Yao thought that this fish was going to say something. He didn't expect that it would say that Xiao Qin wanted to take revenge on him. Baijio, Noo, Nob, O1C. Quickware, supporting female lead, calm down Clawpeak. Chapter 1331. The corner of the young man's lips curled up slightly, adding some color to his cold face. Even though it was a hot summer day, he still looked so cold. However, his curved lips and smiling eyes made his body seem a little warmer. Then I'll wait. Senior, Tanguo shouted. Give me the other one. I've finished it. Yin Yao. This fish is a killjoy. He glanced at the ice cream in his hand and saw that she was looking at the ice cream in his hand seriously. He helped her remove the wrapping paper before passing the ice cream to her. Eat. Senior, you're such a gentle and considerate person. Why are you still single until now? Yin Yao. This talkative fish. Because, I know, it's because the opposite sex around you are too low class. They can't attract you and can't resonate with you, right? Tanguo rode the bike slowly, took a bite of the ice cream, and said with a smile, Senior Yin Yao, you have such high taste and high bloodline. There are very few opposite sex in this world that can match up to you. Yin Yao. This ass-kissing fish. Yin Yao felt that he couldn't always be led by the nose by a fish. It was too damaging to his dignity. She was the one asking questions every time, and he didn't have the habit of lying. Whatever she asked, he would tell her the truth. So, he decided to have the right to speak in his hands. Then, he asked, "You're a fish? Why do you eat so much? Won't you die from overeating?" System. Ah ha ha. This guy. No wonder he's single. Why can't I eat more fish? I want to eat more. My digestion is quite good. I won't die from overeating. Tangwa answered according to the question. Yin Yao asked again, "Why do you like to eat ice cream so much?" "Because it's sweet," Tangwa said without thinking. "When you eat it, when it melts in your stomach, it's all sweet. When it's sweet, you'll be happy." Yin Yao didn't expect this answer, but he still felt strange. In this world, there are many foods sweeter than ice cream. For example, chocolate, sugar, cream. "Why do you only eat ice cream?" "Because I think ice cream is the sweetest." When she answered the question with a smile, Yin Yao saw the most beautiful smile on her perfect face. She seemed to be telling the truth. "So why is ice cream sweeter than, coincidentally, sugar and cream?" "Since you like it so much, I have a lot of it at home. If you want to eat it, come and get it," Yin Yao said without thinking. He was also infected by her sweet smile. At that time, his mind went blank. She suddenly remembered that she had prepared several freezers of ice cream at home. He didn't know why he ordered the attendant to buy a large freezer and ice cream. He bought a lot of ice cream in one go. There was a room filled with ice cream. "Senior, you're so nice. Since you're so generous, I won't stand on ceremony." Yin Yao came to his senses in an instant. He looked a little upset. What did he just say? Asking her to go to his house to get ice cream? This fish must have cultivated some kind of illusionary technique to make him do something that didn't make sense. But since he said it, he couldn't go back on his words. Thinking about the ice cream in the freezers at home, it would be a waste to leave it there. He might as well let this fish eat it. After eating it, he would ask someone to throw the freezers out and never buy ice cream again. Baijio, Noo, Nob, O1C. Quickware, supporting female lead, calm down Klopik. Chapter 1332. Ever since Qiao Chen's confession failed, he stopped trying to get close to Tangwa. However, he would still occasionally appear in front of Tangwa. He would only look at her affectionately from afar and would not go near her. Everyone in the school knew that Xiao Chun was infatuated with Agwagwa. Because Yin Yao beat Xiao Chun up in public, everyone in the school thought that both Xiao Chun and Yin Yao were in love with Agwagwa. In the end, Yin Yao seemed to have one. Every day, they would see Yin Yao waiting for Agwagwa outside the classroom of grade 2 after school. The most shocking thing was that he was holding 2 ice creams in his hands. At first, they thought that the 2 of them would eat one each. Later, they accidentally saw the 2 of them riding away on a bicycle. Only then did they know that the 2 ice creams were Agwagwa's. When she was eating the first one, Yin Yao was holding the other one. When she was done, she took the second one from him. So, Yin Yao and Agwagwa were in love? Many girls sympathized with Qiao Chen's unrequited love. They all hoped that he would forget Agwagwa and be with the beautiful and devoted Fuya. Even though she knew that Xiao Chun was infatuated with Tangwa, Fuya did not change her feelings for Xiao Chun. Every day, she would wait for Qiao Chun after school and accompany him home. Every time, she would wait outside the Qiao family's house early and go to school with Qiao Chun. When Xiao Chun was injured in the physical education class, Fuya was always the first to arrive. Xiao Chun did not have time to eat lunch, and Fuya was the first to send it to him. As long as anything happened to Xiao Chun, Fuya would appear by his side immediately. Everyone in the school felt that Fuya would get Xiao Chun's heart one day. Xiao Chun would forget Agwagwa and live happily with Fuya. "Aren't you with Xiao Chun every day? You have time to come here today?" Tangwa asked curiously when she saw Fuya walking in. She did not expect Fuya to be so devoted to Xiao Chun, this scumbag. It was no wonder that she told Xiao Chun such an important weakness of the mermaid family in her previous life. This was a classic case of lovey-dovey brain. For the sake of the person he liked, he would pour his heart out and not hesitate to hurt himself and others. If Xiao Chen's life was in danger, Fuya would probably be willing to exchange her life for his without any regrets. Xiao Chun went to his father's company, so I couldn't follow him anymore. I heard that he is preparing to take over the company while studying. He's really amazing. Recently, he's come up with a lot of useful plans and new ideas for their company. His father values him a lot. System. I've reincarnated, little girl. I'm an old man who has lived for more than 90 years. I have a lot of life experience. How could I not have a plan? Then what are you doing here? I'm here to see you, Guagua. I haven't had a good chat with you since you came to the human world, Freya said. Guagua, I think we are a little distant. You used to like to share a lot of interesting things about me. Don't we go to school every day? What I know, you know as well. All right, let's not talk about this. This time, I actually want to share a happy thing with you. Fuya smiled innocently. Guagua, do you know? I feel that Xiao Qin's attitude towards me is a little different now. Climax. Chapter 1333. It was that day after school. I was a little later than him, but he actually came to wait for me outside my classroom. Fuya was so happy that she seemed to be about to jump up. Guagua, do you think Xiao Qin has some feelings for me? In the past, he was unwilling to look at me, but now he's willing to wait for me to come home. Guagua, did he see my sincerity and hard work and is willing to slowly get along with me? Guagua, I'm really so happy. I'll definitely succeed, right? Now he doesn't hate me anymore. One day, he'll be with me, right? Fuya asked many questions in a row, all full of hope and happiness. Tangwa looked at all of this coldly. Of course not. She didn't think that Xiao Chun was a kind person. He was so persistent before. How could he change his opinion of Fuya in just a month? She guessed that Xiao Chun must have thought of some conspiracy and wanted to use Fuya to do something. Using Fuya to deal with her? Because he could no longer trick her to go somewhere else. Fuya, I don't think it's that easy. No, Guagua, he must have seen my sincerity. You're prejudiced against him, Fuya said persistently. He hasn't taken the initiative to look for you for a month. Guagua, maybe he's trying his best to forget you. Oh, then I'll give you my blessings, Fuya. Tangwa smiled faintly. She didn't think of stopping anything. She had countless trump cards. No matter what schemes Xiao Qin had, he couldn't hurt her. As for Fuya, that might not be the case. She wasn't a kind person. After chatting with Fuya for a while, Fuya said goodbye. She said that she wanted to go back and think about how to get along with Xiao Qin next. Tangwa didn't ask her to stay. After she left, she took an ice cream and ate it. Then, she jumped into the swimming pool and swam one round. She felt a familiar gaze appear. She emerged from the water and looked at Yinyao, who was standing by the window. She smiled and shouted, "Senior, it's not good to peep." I didn't peep, Yinyao said seriously. I looked at it openly. His eyes didn't move away from the fish, especially the way she swam in the water. It was really beautiful. She looked better with her tail exposed than with her legs. Yinyao pressed his rapidly beating heart and pursed his lips. Little mermaid, come up and have some ice cream. System. He's probably trying to trick his great host up there. Look at the way he's trying to coax a child. Little mermaid, come up and eat some ice cream. Haha, what a joke. There are many. Yinyao added. Now, he only wanted to coax her up. Although he did not know why, he did what he wanted. It's all yours. Senior, I don't want to eat now. Tangwa did not pay attention to Yinyao, nor did she have the intention to go up. She continued to swim in the pool. I ate one just now. Yinyao watched as she dived into the water again and waved her beautiful golden tail. He frowned slightly. Then when do you want to eat? Well, it depends on my mood. I might want to eat it in a while, or maybe tomorrow, or the day after. Tangwa's lips curved into a smile. Did he think that he could trick her with 2 ice creams? Young man, you wish. Yao's eyes darkened. The fish that he loved to eat usually couldn't be coaxed up today. His heart was very depressed. Baijio No Nob 01C. Quickware. Supporting female lead. Calm down. Peak. Chapter 1334. He glanced at the math book beside him, and his eyes lit up. Little mermaid, come up and do the math. System. Ah. This guy was his laughing point for a year. Forever single dog. Young man, you won't be able to get a girl like this. Senior, I don't want to do math at all. My head is dizzy when I look at math questions. Yinyao was at his wit's end. He didn't know why, but he really wanted to coax her up today. He wanted to look at her beautiful golden tail up close, listen to her talk, and watch her eat ice cream. He didn't expect that this was a willful fish. She didn't seem to want to talk to him today. Could it be that all fish had this kind of temperament? Hot and cold? Not easy to figure out? Yin Yao fell into deep thought. He didn't plan to coax Tang Guo to his house anymore. Instead, he turned around and entered the house. System. Host, you're going to make him disappear. You'll get out of hand. It's okay. I'll coax him back next time. He's very easy to coax. I'm giving him space to think. If I stay with him all day, he won't understand who I am. System. Ha ha ha, this bad woman is bullying others for being honest. At this moment, Yin Yao was sitting in his study. In front of him stood several attendants. Your Highness, do you have any orders for us to come here? I've checked. The ice cream in the freezer is full. There's no need to buy it for now. Yin Yao raised his head and asked, do you know anything about the mermaid clan? Mermaid clan? The attendants thought of the noble mermaid next door. Recently, she had been close to their Highness. They were delighted. Could it be that His Highness had taken a fancy to that mermaid? That would be great. The Ocean Emperor would definitely be very happy. Your Highness, do you want to know about the customs of the mermaid clan? Yin Yao said, are there any books on this? Find a few and let me take a look, especially about the likes, habits, and temperament of the mermaid clan. Find all of them. Yes, Your Highness. We'll look for them right away. Not long after, Yin Yao's desk was filled with books about the mermaid clan. He sat on the chair and flipped through the books one by one. In just 2 to 3 hours, he had finished reading all the books. He then summoned all the attendants and said, renovate the swimming pool in the villa. Your Highness, how should we change it? Expand. The bigger the better. The attendants. Why? Could it be that the current one wasn't big enough? Yes, Your Highness. We will immediately arrange for someone to modify it. Yin Yao continued, send someone back to the bottom of the sea and bring up all the treasures I've collected, especially the beautiful ones. The attendants were confused. Your Highness, should we bring them all up? The attendant asked with a trembling voice. Your Highness, that's too much. Bring them all up? Yes. All right, whatever His Highness says. Oh yeah, when you're renovating the swimming pool, you'd better look for some pretty rocks. Pick some pretty rocks and put them in the swimming pool. Yin Yao suggested. Also, change the water every day. Attendants. So Your Highness, what are you trying to do? Buy me all the ice creams in the human world. If one room can't fit all of them, add another room. Don't miss out on any of them. Understood, Your Highness. The attendants finally understood that His Highness was planning to raise the mermaid as a pet. Otherwise, why would he modify the swimming pool and buy ice cream? And bring up all the treasures he's collected? Baijio, Noo, Nob, O1C. Quick wear. Supporting female lead. Calm down. Top point. Chapter 1335. I heard that Xiao Chun and Fuya are together. Really? During the break, Tang Guo heard the students in the classroom discussing this matter. She was surprised, but also felt that it was reasonable. With Fuya's current situation, she could only be led by the nose by Xiao Chun. Fuya finally moved Xiao Chun. I heard that it was Xiao Chun who confessed to Fuya. Fuya is so lucky. Xiao Chun is the young master of the Qiao family. I heard that he has already intervened in the company's affairs. In the future, he will definitely take over the Qiao family. When Fuya and Xiao Chun get married, she will be the young madam of the Qiao family. Host, what is Xiao Chun thinking? Didn't he say that he would not be involved with Fuya? Why do I feel that he has become evil? He has always been an extreme person. In the previous life, it was Guagua who wanted to clarify that she was the one who saved him. He believed Fuya's words and thought that Guagua's appearance made Fuya unhappy, so he wanted Guagua's life. Tang Guo mocked, he is not a good person to begin with. If Guagua really did something to harm Fuya or his life, she was asking for it. But she did nothing. She just wanted to explain the truth and was killed. Just because he made the person he liked unhappy, he had to die. Isn't that extreme enough? It was quite extreme. The system thought, then what is he doing now? Is he using Fuya to harm you? However, he probably won't harm your life. He probably wants to use Fuya to do something. Then let's see how he wants to court death. Keep an eye on him. She would not underestimate anyone, especially this kind of thing that would harm people. After school in the afternoon, Inyao waited outside the classroom as usual. When Tangwa came out of the classroom and was about to leave with him, Fuya and Xiao Chen also came. Fuya happily told Tangwa that she was already together with Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen also said to Tangwa, "I'm sorry, Guogua. I was too extreme before. After many things, I finally saw Fuya's true heart, so now I am with her." "Oh, then congratulations. I wish you happiness." Xiao Chen maintained the smile on his face as if he was really relieved. "Then we'll get going first." Fuya happily followed beside Xiao Chen. Her smiling eyes only had Xiao Chen in them. "Aguagua, don't trust that cunning human," Inyao said in a low voice. "He has bad intentions." Tangwa took a bite of her ice cream and nodded seriously. "Don't worry, senior. I only trust you." Inyao's face was cold, but his red ears betrayed his heart. How could this fish look at him with such obedient eyes and say in a sweet voice that it only trusted him? Since she was so obedient, he would protect her and not let those cunning humans hurt her. Inyao smiled. "Yes, trust me. There won't be any mistakes. I won't harm you." "I know. Senior is a good person." Inyao was already used to her praising him, so he felt more comfortable listening to her. Thinking of the villa that was being renovated recently, he was in a better mood. Since he liked to get along with this fish, it would be better to keep her at home in the future. When the swimming pool was renovated, she would definitely like it. His servant had already brought up all the treasures he had collected from the bottom of the sea for her to play with. All the different flavors of ice cream from all over the country were also at his house for her to eat. Baijio, Noo, Nob, O1C, Quick Wear, supporting female lead, calm down. Peak. Chapter 1336. Ever since Fuya and Xiao Chen got together, Xiao Chen was even less in front of Tangwa, and he seemed to be very good to Fuya, often causing the girls in the whole school to scream. At noon, Fuya would drag Xiao Chen over to eat with Tangwa and Inyao. Tangwa didn't care, and Inyao didn't care either. In this way, a month-long semester passed. During the holidays, Tangwa heard that Fuya was going to take Xiao Chen back to the bottom of the sea to see the Mermaid King. "He is a human, Fuya. You only have 100 years with him. There is no need to take him to the bottom of the sea. Aguagua, he knows that I am a mermaid, and we are going to be together in the future. I want to take him to see my father and mother." Fuya didn't think there was a problem at all. Isn't there a custom among humans that marriage must be blessed by parents? "Aguagua, I also want to, and I want to be with him for a longer time." Tangwa thought of a possibility, and her eyes narrowed slightly. "You want father to agree to share your life with him? Be with him forever." "Yes, Aguagua, I want to be with him forever, forever and ever. If he lives, I live, and if I die, he dies. I will share my life with him, so that we can live and die together." Fuya, since ancient times, mermaids who have shared their lives with humans have never had a good ending. Human love has never lasted long. Aguagua, I choose to believe in him. So I hope that with father's consent, we can pass the test together to obtain the secret method of sharing life. Tangwa smiled. "As you wish. Fuya, after you share your life with him, you will be inseparable from him." "Aguagua, I have never thought of being separated from him." Fuya was very persistent. Of course, Tangwa had no intention of persuading her. She just reminded the other party of the consequences. Mermaids and humans shared their lives. They did not have an advantage and would pay a great price. Sharing life with a human meant that this mermaid had betrayed the mermaid clan and could not survive in the sea for a long time in the future. Moreover, she could not be too far away from the human who shared her life with her, otherwise her body would be very weak. Because sharing would give most of the divine power of the merfolk to the humans who would die of old age in 100 years. On the second day of the holiday, Fuya brought Xiao Chen back to the seabed. Tangwa did not go back. Since she had come up, she did not plan to go back often. Compared to the underwater world, she actually preferred the human world. Except for the fact that the merfolk were more dependent on water, everything else was good. Little Mermaid. Tangwa heard Inyao's voice and emerged from the water. "Senior, what's the matter? Come up. It's too hot." It's better to stay in the pool. Yin Yao's lips unknowingly turned gentle. It's cool here. System. If there's ice cream. There's a lot of it. Chapter 1337. I'm so sorry, Senior. I was too excited and got you wet. It's okay. Yin Yao heaved a sigh of relief. He finally managed to coax this cunning fish up. Senior, where's the big pool you mentioned? Come with me. Yin Yao was in a good mood. She would definitely be happy to see that super big pool. Just as he turned around to go downstairs, Tangwa's voice came from behind him. Senior, how can I walk? I don't have legs. Did you forget that I'm a fish? Yin Yao, system. This shameless woman. Did she have to be so obvious when she wanted to hug him? TSK. She took advantage of him whenever she had the chance. Yin Yao turned around and saw the fish looking at him with a smile. Her beautiful tail was still wagging. He didn't ask her to transform into legs directly. Instead, he walked over and stared at her deeply. Little Mermaid. Senior, you're too naughty. Then what do you want to do? Tangwa smiled and looked at him eagerly. Could it be that Senior wants to expose my identity and attract everyone's attention? How is that possible? Yin Yao said. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not expose her identity and let everyone see this beautiful little mermaid. He took a few steps closer to Tangwa. His voice was still very cold. Are you sure you don't have legs? No. Okay. After saying okay, Yin Yao bent down and hugged her waist. He whispered into her ear and said in a very low voice, Then I'll carry you over. You'll think the same, right? Senior, you're really smart as always. Yin Yao carried her and walked down the stairs step by step. He said, No, I'm not smart at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been enchanted by your illusion. I often do things that even I find strange, but I'm willing to do. After going downstairs and walking out of the door, Tangwa was stunned when she saw the situation outside, because the place in front of her really looked like the sea. There were rocks from the sea, all kinds of beautiful stones from the sea, and some plants and creatures from the sea. They were all placed in the pool. The water here was also filled with the smell of the sea. At the side of the pool, there were shiny treasures from the sea. There were all kinds of things. It was so bright that it almost blinded her eyes. There were piles and piles of them as if they were free. Senior, you're rich. It's okay. Yin Yao said. I can still raise a fish. System, I was caught off guard and was forced to eat a bowl of dog food. You want to raise me? Yin Yao didn't even think about it. He still nodded coldly, of course. I've taken all the treasures in the palace. They're all yours in the future. I heard that the mermaid clan likes pretty things. Actually, I like them too. I used to like these shiny treasures, but now... He looked at her and placed her in the pool. His eyes met hers. I found something even more beautiful than treasures. A mermaid. He planned to raise this fish. All the treasures were given to her. Everything was hers. When Tangwa heard what Yin Yao said, she laughed out loud. Senior, you can't abandon them. I won't. Yin Yao's expression turned serious. I promised to take care of her for the rest of her life. He thought about his own life. As long as his godly power did not dissipate, he could live forever. As long as he was alive and she was alive, he would take care of her. Tangwa swam in the water for a while and saw that the bottom of the pool was also covered with gems. She was a little stunned. Baijio, Noo, Nob, O1C. Quick wear. Supporting female lead. Calm down. Vertex. Chapter 1338. This guy, how many treasures did he collect? It was really a shiny piece. She liked it just by looking at it. Host, look at my sincerity. Don't tease me, just enjoy the days of being a fish. Yin Yao looked at the fish swimming happily in the pool he made for her, the corner of his lips raised. Actually, keeping fish was pretty good. He wondered if she was willing to go to the underwater dragon palace with him. It was more spacious and had more beautiful places. Whether she was willing or not, he really wanted to bring her back. Senior, what kind of sea clan are you? Tangwa had already guessed it, but she still asked symbolically. After all, she was already being kept. Yin Yao didn't hide it. Silver Dragon? It sounds very grand. It's said that the Silver Dragon clan is the strongest clan among the sea clans. Yin Yao didn't deny it. In terms of combat power, the Silver Dragon clan is indeed the strongest. Because of this, only the members of the Silver Dragon clan were qualified to be the Ocean Emperor and protect the sea. He was the candidate for the next Ocean Emperor. He came to the human realm to understand human life. After becoming the Ocean Emperor in the future, the entire sea would be under his control. He would definitely come into contact with the human side. Humans were too weak. If he could avoid fighting, he would try his best not to. If he did, he would destroy a city. The Silver Dragon clan had strong combat power, but they didn't like to fight. They hoped that the sea clans and humans could coexist peacefully. I've never seen the Silver Dragon's true form. Tanghua looked at Yin Yao enviously. I didn't expect Senior to be a Silver Dragon. Can you change into your true form for me to see? System. Bad guy. You know that she's honest and won't reject, but you still bully her. Yin Yao stared at Tanghua and said, my true form is a little big. It can't fit here, if you want to see. Follow me back to the Ocean Dragon Palace. I'll show you. If that's the case, then I won't make things difficult for Senior. She was just saying, not to mention the Silver Dragon clan. She had seen all kinds of dragons. However, this guy was the cutest. Little Mermaid. I heard that Fuya brought Xiao Qin back to the Mermaid clan, planning to share her life with him?
Yes.
Yin Yao pursed his lips and said coldly, I think he's up to no good. I know. Yin Yao was surprised. So she knew? However, she did not seem to be prepared to tell Fuya about this. Moreover, he discovered that she did not like Fuya. This was somewhat different from the information he had received. It should be said that the A Guagua he had investigated was a little different from the A Guagua in front of him. Fuya returned to the Merfolk clan with Xiao Chun. When the Merfolk clan heard about Fuya, they were all surprised. When the Merfolk king heard that Freya was going to share her life with Xiao Chun, he was not in a good mood. Freya was going to abandon the Mermaid clan and choose to be with humans. How could he be happy? Freya, have you thought it through? Were you really going to give up your divine power for a human and share your life and divine power with him? If you do that, you'll never be able to return to the sea. You'll only be able to survive on land. If humans change their minds in the future, you won't be able to regret it. Father, I love Xiao Chun. I'm willing to give up everything for him, including my divine power and life. I really regret that I'm from the Merfolk clan. If I were a human, there wouldn't be so many problems between us. Even if our lives were short, we would be able to bloom the love between us. Peak. Chapter 1339. Fuya, I'll ask you again. Do you really want to share your life with the human beside you? Yes, Father. I want to share my life with Xiao Chun, Fuya said without hesitation. At this time, a blue mermaid swam in from outside. She looked at Fuya and said, Fuya, you can't do that. You can't give up the sea. This is your home. But Fuya had already made up her mind. Even if her mother appeared, she would not change her mind. In the end, the Mermaid King agreed to let Fuya and Xiao Chun pass the test together. As long as they passed the test together, they would be able to obtain the secret method of sharing their lives. This matter caused a huge commotion in the Mermaid clan. Many clans in the sea knew about it. Tanghua also received the Mermaid King's summons and had to return. Little Mermaid, I'll go back with you, Yin Yao said. Since she was his fish, he had to be by her side at all times. What if she was stolen by someone? Tanghua of course did not refuse. She brought Yin Yao back to the Mermaid clan. The Mermaid King summoned Tanghua back to warn her not to learn from Fuya and abandon the sea to share her life with a human. She was not allowed to betray the Mermaid clan. But when Tanghua returned, there was a young man in a white shirt beside her. The Mermaid King swallowed the words that were about to come out of his mouth. He knew this young man. Wasn't he the heir of the Ocean Emperor? That powerful little silver dragon. Aguagua, aren't you going to introduce your friend? The Mermaid King's gaze was always on Yin Yao. He narrowed his eyes. This little silver dragon's eyes had always been on his little princess. So, there was no need for him to warn his daughter. Aguagua was indeed his most outstanding daughter. How could she betray the Mermaid clan? She actually brought the little silver dragon back without a word. Because of Yin Yao's arrival, the Mermaid King's originally unhappy mood turned into a smile. Father, he's called Yin Yao. We met in school. He's in the second year of high school. Tangwa said. He's from the Silver Dragon clan. He said he wanted to raise me. The king of the mermaids. TSK, this brat acted really quickly. He actually managed to coax his little princess just like that. He was quite capable. He said that he would take care of me for the rest of my life and that all his treasures were mine. He even dug up everything that he didn't need in his villa and built a very large pool. At the bottom of the pool, there are many precious stones, and beside the pool, there are many treasures. The Mermaid King turned to Yin Yao. Yin Yao, is what Guogua said true? You want to raise her for the rest of her life? Yes, Uncle Mermaid King. Guogua likes shiny treasures very much. The Mermaid King knew that the Silver Dragon clan loved shiny treasures the most. Whoever took them away would be cutting off their flesh. Yin Yao said coldly, I have a lot. Give them all to her. The Mermaid King was satisfied. Then I'll leave a Guagua to you for the time being. Don't bully her. She's my little princess. Uncle Mermaid King, don't worry. I won't bully the little mermaid. Father, how's Fuya? Tangwa asked curiously. The Mermaid King's smile disappeared. She went to take the test with that human. Once she obtains the secret technique, she will immediately be expelled from the sea. Guogua, taking Yao to play. This child is quite good. After a month of various tests, Fuya returned with injuries all over her body. Xiao Chun was in a much better state because most of Fuya's divine power was used to protect him. Baijio, Noo, Nob, O1C. Quick wear. Supporting actress, calm down. Peak. Chapter 1340. The Merfolk King looked at the persistent Fuya and did not stop them in the end. He let them go. Tangwa and Yin Yao stayed at the bottom of the sea until school started. Only then did they choose to go back. Because of Fuya's departure, the Merfolk King was very sad. The entire Merfolk clan fell into sorrow. Although they yearned for beautiful love, they did not agree with Merfolk sharing life with humans. Tangwa and Yin Yao's high school life was still very beautiful. However, it was a little different from before. Ever since Yin Yao decided to raise fish, he would appear by her side as long as he was free. However, Tangwa found that Xiao Qian and Fuya did not seem to have used the secret method of sharing life. Fuya, didn't you want to share life with Xiao Qian? Xiao Qian said that it would be more meaningful to share life on the day of our wedding. Fuya had a happy smile. Tangwa said thoughtfully, Oh, I see. Aguagua, I didn't expect you to really find the most powerful Silver Dragon clan. Congratulations. Fuya sincerely wished her well. She thought that love was wonderful. Just like now, she was very happy every day. After high school, Tangwa and Yin Yao went to the same university in the city. In the university, Yin Yao still raised fish every day and fed dog food to the people around him. Among them, besides the system, there was another person who was close to them, and that was Pei Jiang. Xiao Chen rarely went to school and university. He was always in the company. Fuya and he were almost inseparable. Wherever Xiao Chen went, she would go. Therefore, Pei Jiang was closer to Tangwa and Yin Yao. Fuya is the most infatuated girl I have ever seen. Pei Jiang's expression was a little gloomy. Her love has never changed. From Xiao Chun not liking her to being with her now, they are even preparing to get married after Xiao Chun takes over the company. Tangwa had long seen that Pei Jiang liked Fuya. When Xiao Chen ignored Fuya, Pei Jiang spoke up for Fuya and praised her in all kinds of ways. It could be seen that his love was not shallow. Since you like Fuya, why don't you try harder? Tangwa asked with a smile. Pei Jiang was shocked and quickly looked around. When he saw that no one was looking, he heaved a sigh of relief. Agogwa, don't say that. What if Xiao Chun misunderstands Fuya? It wasn't easy for her to be with Xiao Chun. They're not here. If you like them, why don't you fight for them? Pei Jiang was silent for a long time before he smiled bitterly. She only has Xiao Chun in her eyes. It's meaningless for me to lose without fighting. I might as well be a friend and help her when she's in trouble. Then, do you think Xiao Chun really likes her? After all, boys understand boys better. Pei Jiang was silent for a moment. After a long time, he said, "So what if she doesn't like it? It's fine as long as she likes it." Aguagua, you have to help me keep this a secret. I don't want to make things difficult for Fuya. Tangua nodded. Don't worry, I'm not that bored. Aguagua, the ice cream is here. Yinyao came back with a basket of ice cream and glanced at it indifferently. Pei Jiang was so scared that he trembled and quickly said, "Top student, don't look at me like that. Do you think I dare to? Aguagua and I are good friends. I have no feelings for her at all." "Then stay away from my little mermaid," Yinyao said bluntly. "The little mermaid wants to eat ice cream. This place is very narrow. I'm leaving." Pei Jiang looked at Yinyao and said weakly. Yinyao threw a bottle of ice water from the basket to him. Pei Jiang regained his relaxed smile and patted Yinyao's shoulder. "Good brother, I knew you were just scaring me. There were at least 30 ice creams in that basket. What a glutton." By Jiwa, Noo, Nob, 01C. Quickware, supporting female lead, calm down. Peak. Chapter 1341. Brother Yao, Pei Jiang is your classmate. Is it really okay for you to scare him like this? Yin Yao opened the wrapper of an ice cream and handed it to Tangua. It's okay. He'll get used to it after a while. Aguagua, what did he say to you just now? I heard Xiao Chen's name. Yin Yao always felt that his mermaid seemed to have a lot of enmity towards Xiao Chen, but he didn't find out what kind of contact his little mermaid had with Xiao Chen. He said something about Xiao Chen and Fuya. Yin Yao paused and said in a low voice, Pei Jiang is interested in Fuya. Brother Yao. You can tell? Tangua was a little surprised. She thought that Yin Yao was by her side all day and didn't care about those things at all. Aguagua, do you think I'm a fool? Yin Yao's voice was cold and light. Tangua smiled. No, in my heart, Brother Yao is the smartest person. System. Praise with all your might. Praise with all your might. Although Yin Yao had heard such praise for a long time, he never got tired of hearing it from her. Aguagua, you have enmity towards Xiao Chen. It seems that you don't like Fuya too. He had been thinking about this before, but at that time, they weren't so familiar with each other. Tangua didn't hide it. She approached him and said in a low voice, I have a grudge against Xiao Chen. Yin Yao was surprised. Grudge? What grudge? Tangua pursed her lips and took a bite of the ice cream. Yin Yao waited patiently at the side. He wasn't in a hurry at all. A death grudge. After a long time, he heard a very unexpected answer from Tangua's mouth. A death grudge? He was very confused. Why was it a death grudge? Xiao Chen was just a mortal with a lifespan of less than 100 years. He was sure that Tangua didn't know Xiao Chen before she came to this school. At least, he didn't hear that the third princess of the mermaid clan had any grudges with a mortal. Even if a mortal really offended her and framed her, the mermaid king would definitely not let this person go. Brother Yao, just you wait. Xiao Chen isn't done with me. Tangua said with a smile. Do you think that he clearly doesn't like Fuya, but still insists on accepting her, and even makes her want to share her life with him, causing her to abandon the mermaid clan? It is indeed a little strange. Xiao Chen did not like Fuya. Anyone with a bit of intelligence would be able to tell. He could see it. Tangua could see it, and even Pei Jiang could feel it. Only Freya, who was in the middle of it all, seemed to not know anything. Then you have to stay close to me in the future. Yin Yao thought for a while and said, with me here, he can't hurt you. Is that so? Tangua had already finished eating the ice cream in her hand. She even wiped her hand that was stained with ice cream on Yin Yao's sleeve and held his arm. Yin Yao looked at the clean white shirt. A little bit of chocolate was rubbed out, but he ignored it. Chapter 1342. During university, Xiao Chen did not take the initiative to speak to Tangua. It was as if they had really let go of each other a few years ago. Outside, Xiao Chen was extremely considerate to Fuya. Those who knew them all thought that they were a match made in heaven. Compared to the beginning, Fuya loved Xiao Chen even more. Everywhere, one could see Fuya's happy smile. Those who were not familiar with them would never doubt that their relationship was not real. because Fuya chose to share her life with humans and abandon the merfolk clan. She was no longer qualified to return to the sea until she held the life-sharing ceremony. Even if she was allowed to return to the sea, she would not be able to survive in the sea. This was the price of betraying the merfolk clan. She could only live in the human world in the future. Perhaps the only benefit of sharing life was that she would no longer die of thirst due to lack of water, but she would also lose her instinct to swim in the sea. It was obvious that Fuya did not regret it. When Xiao Qian was in his second year of university, he had already taken over the Qiao group and became the true leader of the Qiao group. Moreover, he promised Fuya that when she graduated from university, they would get married and hold a life-sharing ceremony at the same time. During this period, no matter how busy Xiao Qian was, he would take time out to accompany Fuya. Fuya could no longer return to the sea. Tanghua, who lived on land, became her only sea companion who could talk to her. Moreover, they were sisters. Therefore, Fuya would often come to play with Tanghua and have parties. Most of the time, when she was almost done playing, Xiao Qian would drive to pick her up. No one would think that Xiao Qian, who cared about Fuya, would have any thoughts about Tanghua. Every time it was Fuya's birthday, Xiao Qian would hold a grand birthday party for her. This made everyone think that they were extremely loving. When Pei Jiang saw this, he could only stand aside silently and bless them, his expression dim. "Do you regret it?" Tanghua asked with a smile. Pei Jiang shook his head. "There's nothing to regret. This is Fuya's choice." Even if Xiao Qian did not love Fuya that much, he had already done so much for Fuya. Whether he loved her or not, at least Fuya looked happy. That was enough. And what right did he, Pei Jiang, have to interfere in this? "I heard that Xiao Qian bought an island for Fuya." Pei Jiang looked at the beautiful couple dancing on the dance floor. Seeing Fuya's happy smile, he couldn't hide the disappointment in his eyes. Fuya is blessed that he treats her so well. That island is not cheap. According to Xiao Qian, he even built a beautiful manor for Fuya on the island. "When did it happen?" Tanghua asked. Pei Jiang said, "That was many years ago. I only heard Xiao Qian mention it recently. He said that the manors were built very nicely. When they get married, they can move in." Fuya is about to graduate. Xiao Qian should be planning to propose to her today. "Do you feel uncomfortable?" Pei Jiang revealed a smile that was uglier than crying. He took a sip of wine. "It would be a lie to say that I don't feel bad. I really envy the top student. He can do anything. He actually managed to woo such a beautiful junior like you." Pei Jiang said sourly, "If I had the ability of a top student, maybe." Tanghua did not interrupt. Even if Pei Jiang had the ability of Yin Yao, he would not be able to woo Fuya. Unless Pei Jiang appeared before Xiao Qian, then he might still have a chance. After the first dance, Xiao Qian indeed proposed to Fuya. Chapter 1343. During the romantic proposal ceremony, Fuya accepted Xiao Qian's proposal with tears in her eyes. Xiao Qian was even more handsome than he was a few years ago. The moment he knelt down on one knee and put the ring on Fuya's finger, the girls who came to Fuya's birthday party screamed. They all expressed how great it would be if they were Fuya. Xiao Qian, who was in charge of the entire Qiao family, actually doted on Fuya like a princess. Hearing those envious words, Tanghua only held Yin Yao's arm and leaned her head on his body, not envious at all. If they knew the lie behind this romantic and beautiful ceremony, would they still be so envious? "Aguagua, you like this too?" Yin Yao saw that Tanghua kept staring at Xiao Qian and Fuya, and his heart moved. He asked, "If you like it, when we return to the sea, I'll let the members of the Sea Clan dance on the sea for you." Most of the members of the Sea Clan know how to dance and sing. The songs they sing have the effect of blessing and are pleasant to the ear. There are many treasures in the Dragon Palace. If you return with me, they'll all be yours. System. Ah, this child is so honest. Then if I don't go back with you, they won't be mine? No, whether you go back or not, they'll all be yours. Yin Yao's expression was cold, but his words were gentle and pleasant. If you don't like the Dragon Palace, I can go back with you to the Mermaid Clan. System. That's a big improvement. You're the most outstanding son of the Ocean Emperor. If I steal you away, he'll definitely hate me and be angry at you. No, at most I won't be the ocean emperor. I have a few older brothers above me and a few younger brothers below me. They're all very outstanding. As the saying goes, 3 cobblers are better than Zhuge. There's no difference between them controlling the sea together. Dahai, with a wife, you've forgotten about the sea. At this time, Fuya held Xiao Qin's hand and came in front of Tanguo. Aguagua, we're getting married. Can you be my bridesmaid? Aguagua, I don't have the right to return to the sea anymore. You're the only family to witness my wedding. Fuya said with a little loneliness. This time, can you be my bridesmaid? If you don't mind, I'll steal the limelight. Of course, that's not a problem. At this moment, Xiaochen said to Yin Yao, please be my best man. Yin Yao glanced at him, then looked at Tanguo, who didn't seem to care, but didn't seem to be stopping him. Finally, he nodded. Okay. He really wanted to know what Xiao Chun was plotting. His little mermaid seemed to be waiting for all of this to happen. Even though she knew what the result would be, she had no intention of stopping it. No matter what, she would be fine with him around. Xiao Chun did not seem to intend to say much to the two of them. He decided on the bridesmaids and groomsmen. He took Freya's hand and went to talk to other friends. Aguagua. Brother Yao. Yin Yao had already left the gathering with Tanguo and walked into the dark. What are you waiting for? Of course, I'm waiting for someone to court death. Tanguo's voice carried a hint of laughter. Brother Yao, ask whatever you want. What kind of life and death grudge is this? Yin Yao really wanted to know. He always felt that things weren't simple. His little mermaid had a lot of secrets. Moreover, she didn't seem like the cute, innocent, and impatient little mermaid in the legends. The little mermaid in front of him was calm, smart, cunning, and especially good at praising people. She looked very charming when she smiled. Chapter 1344. It's the kind of grudge where he brought me back to life. Tanguo smiled and hugged Yin Yao's arm. She smiled and said, Brother Yao, do you believe in rebirth? Yin Yao stopped in his tracks and turned to face her. Even in the dark, he could see her face and the emotions in her eyes. Are you reborn? No. Tanguo denied. Yin Yao asked again, is he reborn? He did feel that Xiao Qin's soul was stronger than ordinary humans. However, he didn't have the habit of prying into other people's souls. He thought that he was one of the few humans with stronger souls. As for the little mermaid in front of him, other than her personality and habits, she was a little different. He couldn't see any traces, as if she was her, but he always felt that she wasn't her. But no matter what, he was very sure that he wanted to raise this little mermaid in front of him, the kind that he wanted to raise for a lifetime. Xiao Chun was reborn, Tanguo said. These things weren't important to her at all. Moreover, she wouldn't be struck by lightning if she told him about her background and why she was here. It was just whether she wanted to say it or not. If she wanted to say it, she would say it to this guy who didn't have his memories. If she didn't want to say it, even if he asked, she wouldn't say it. Brother Yao, with your intelligence, you probably guessed that I'm not her, right? Tanguo asked with a smile. She looked straight at Yin Yao and put her palm on his cheek. I said this because I think you're cute. Yin Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What kind of reason was that? This fish was really getting more and more willful. He really cherished it.
Yes.
Yin Yao said, Aguagua isn't a simple little mermaid. She's smart, cunning, and knows how to lie. She's full of praises. The first time we met, she cast a spell on me. How can a mere mermaid have that kind of ability? Brother Yao, don't you think your image has collapsed? Tanguo said mischievously. Yin Yao, when I first met Brother Yao, you were such a cold and heartless young man. Yin Yao, this fish is spoiled by him, so just bear with it. Look at my brother Yao now. He knows how to compliment people. He has a sweet mouth. He also knows how to buy ice cream. He helped me renovate the swimming pool. He even moved his favorite shiny treasure to my house. Tanguo pursed her lips and smiled. Brother Yao, aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the members of the sea race? Who dares to laugh? I'll sweep him out of the sea with my tail. Brother Yao, let me tell you a story about mermaids saving people. All right. Yin Yao held on to Tanguo while Tanguo leaned on him. The two of them strolled on the street together. She told him about Aguagua's experience. Yin Yao frowned as he listened. So, Xiao Chen knew that the person who saved him was Aguagua and came to find you after he was reborn? Yes, Tangwa said sarcastically. Chapter 1345. I don't know what he's doing for now, but it can't be anything good. Let's take it one step at a time. I want to see how he's going to court death. It won't end well anyway. Yin Yao didn't care about Xiao Chen's fate. Instead, he hugged her tightly. After this is over, let's go back to the sea. Aguagua, after we go back to the sea, I'll inherit the throne of the Ocean Emperor. You'll be my Ocean Queen. We'll live forever together. Yin Yao had already imagined that scene. The corners of his lips curled up slightly on his calm face. His brothers all laughed at him. He wasn't young anymore, but he still didn't have a spouse. Who knew that he had the most beautiful mermaid princess in the sea? But Tangwa didn't say anything, which made Yin Yao feel that something was wrong. Aguagua, do you not like the identity of the Ocean Queen? Or do you prefer to stay in the human world? If the little mermaid didn't like it, then he would stay in the human world. He wouldn't inherit the throne of the Ocean Emperor. Actually, the throne of the Ocean Emperor didn't have to belong to him. His brothers were all very outstanding. Brother Yao, I'm not from this world, Tangwa said seriously. So I can't live forever with you. Yin Yao's heart sank. Are you going to leave after solving Xiao Chen's problem? No, Tangwa denied. Then why? Yin Yao hugged her tightly. Since you're not leaving, why can't you live forever with me? Brother Yao, you're too greedy. There's no such thing as forever. If I say there is, then there is. Yin Yao said stubbornly. Aguagua, I'm willing to share my life with you. I'll live and die with you. Tangwa's lips curled into a flower-like smile. Brother Yao, Aguagua will die in 3 years. Counting from today, I still have 23 years left in this world. Tangwa was already used to this, so it was easy for her to say it. Although every time it was short and sweet, leaving a small world made her heart fluctuate greatly. But as she got used to it, she really got used to it. Yin Yao didn't know, but she still planned to tell him. After all, he was a very cute person in this life. She didn't want to leave for no reason and not give him any time to prepare, even if she understood that he might not be able to survive after she left this place. This guy was really adorable. After transmigrating through so many worlds, he was the only one who was willing to die for her. Therefore, she was willing to remember more about him. For example, if she met him in every world, as long as he didn't offend her or harm her, he would still look obedient and cute. She could take the initiative and treat him better. She had to think of a way to win his heart as soon as possible so that he wouldn't have to wait so hard. In the myriad of worlds, the number of people that she could remember could be counted on one hand. For a person she liked and was very cute, she would definitely treat him with sincerity. She would not let the other party cheat her and would only treat him with the purest feelings. Yin Yao also saw the love in Tangwa's eyes. There was only love and nothing else. Brother Yao, for the remaining 23 years, I'll only like you. I'll love you as much as I can. Don't have any regrets, and don't be greedy. Be good, and I'll remember you for a little longer. The moment he heard that it was only 23 years, Yin Yao almost collapsed. Why was such a wonderful time only 23 years? Chapter 1346. No, he really wanted to be greedy. But when he heard her sweet voice, when she said that she only liked him, and looked at her clear eyes that only reflected his appearance, as well as her focused expression, the agitation and irritation in Yin Yao's heart instantly dissipated. He held her little hand and pulled her into his arms. His palm was on the back of her head. His expression was cold, but his eyes were actually a little hot, and his voice was choked with sobs. That's what you said, little mermaid. In these 23 years, only I can take care of you. Of course, in this world, only Brother Yao has the right to take care of me. But why only 23 years? Brother Yao, don't be too greedy. 23 years is already very long. Sometimes, in another world, I can only live for 10 more years. Tangwa smiled and said, After 23 years, everything will be gone. Without you, I'm afraid I can't continue. Tangwa pursed her lips and smiled brilliantly. Brother Yao, even if the time we spent together is short, I won't tell you to live well after I leave here. If you want to die, then die. System? This bad woman. Yin Yao was also a little helpless. He held her chin and kissed her little mouth fiercely, then let go. You really aren't that pure and kind little mermaid, but a cruel fish. But I like you like this. What the hell did she mean by asking him to die? Was it because she knew that he couldn't live without her, so she agreed to let him die? It was obviously not something good, but in his heart, it was really sweet. He thought that she was indeed a fish that he raised. She understood his heart so well. Brother Yao likes me so much and loves me to the bone. If I ask you to promise me that you will live forever, wouldn't you live in pain and loneliness? Tangwa said as if it was a matter of course. Instead of living in pain every day of remembering me, it's better to die early and be reincarnated early in the next life. System. Damn. It actually sounds so reasonable. What about you? Yin Yao asked. He held Tangwa's face. You mean that every world has memories? Agwagwa, were we together in our previous lives? Brother Yao, you've always been so smart. Yes, we've been together for many lifetimes. Tangwa smiled honestly. You're very obedient and cute every time. So we've always been together. Yin Yao's heart skipped a beat. So in our next life, we will be together too? Brother Yao, you really haven't changed at all. You always ask me if we'll be together in our next lives. My answer is always the same. As long as you're obedient, I'll definitely come and find you when I see you. I'll get you as soon as possible. Yin Yao, as expected of his fish, how many memories are there in Agwagwa's head? Yin Yao kissed the corner of her mouth. If I'm not obedient and you don't stay with me, will you be disappointed and sad when we used to love each other so much? I'll definitely be a little disappointed. People's hearts aren't made of iron. Tangwa said, as for being sad, if you're not obedient, what's the use of being sad? I won't be polite to anyone who hurts me, no matter who it is. I'll definitely be cuter. Yin Yao let go of her face and said seriously, if I'm not obedient, Agwagwa doesn't have to be polite. Just take revenge. If I dare to hurt you, you can stab me in the heart with a sharp knife and end my life. Chapter 1347. Who asked me, who has no memories, to hurt you, who has countless memories? Yin Yao sighed softly. That must be very upsetting. Why did Agwagwa say that she was not sad anymore? What was the use of being sad? He heard a hidden sadness in her indifferent tone. Was it because she had been hurt many times? He hoped that the person who hurt her did not hurt him. What terrible things did she go through? How could she still maintain a sincere heart and give him such pure love? How lucky he was. Since Brother Yao said so, then I won't be polite. Tangwa said with a smile. I'm a person who holds grudges the most. Yin Yao was very happy to hear that. This was the Agwagwa he liked. Yes, this was the way. This was the way she could protect herself and not be hurt by anyone. Since knowing that they only had 23 years left, Yin Yao cherished every day very much. He wished he could spend a day as if it were a year. Even if it was only 23 years, he wanted the little mermaid to experience that they could be together for 230 years, 2,300 years, or even 2,300 years. Those who knew them all thought that Yin Yao had gone crazy. The girls were envious and jealous. They used to look for boyfriends based on Yin Yao's standards. Now, they felt that according to Yin Yao's standards, it might be better for them to become monks. Yin Yao's brothers also knew that he fell in love with a golden-tailed mermaid. They sent their blessings and gifts to Tangwa, all of which were shiny treasures. Even the Sea King thought highly of them. The members of the Sea Clan all knew that the Sea King's son and the third princess of the Mermaid Clan were in love. They sent their blessings and sang in the sea all day long, praising their beautiful love. Because this was the union of two noble clans of the same level, they had to send their most sincere blessings. This was the result that Yin Yao wanted. Even if it was only 23 years, he wanted his little mermaid to have the best memories. No matter what happened to her in the future, He hoped that she would smile happily when she recalled this place. Just like that, Fuya and Xiao Chun welcomed their wedding day. 3 days before the wedding, Xiao Chun sent someone to pick up Tanghua to a manor on a small island. Because the bridesmaid had to be with the bride, it was normal for Xiao Chun to pick her up. Because of me, Fuya can no longer return to her hometown. I bought that island for her. The manor on that island is Fuya's home. Xiao Chun said affectionately, Aguagua, my people will send you to Fuya. As for Yin Yao, come with me. We'll go pick up the bride later. Tanghua had no objections and followed Xiao Chun's men. Yin Yao followed Xiao Chun to his place to prepare. Xiao Chun brought Yin Yao to the villa where Pei Jiang and the others were. Yin Yao, I'll leave the groomsmen group to you and Pei Jiang. When we were in university, I was closer to you guys. Xiao Chun looked at his watch. However, in order for the secret art to be completed, both parties had to swear an oath before it could take effect. Fuya, do you truly love me and are willing to share a life with me and give up everything for me? Xiao Chun asked according to the incantation. His eyes were full of smiles, and there was a bit of affection in his eyes. Freya instantly lost all ability to think. Xiao Chun. She finally saw deep love in Xiao Chun's eyes. She cried tears of joy and answered without hesitation, I'm willing. Xiao Chun, do you truly love me and are willing to share my life with me and give up everything for me? After Fuya asked, she looked at Xiao Chun expectantly. Her heart was beating faster. Chapter 1349. Seeing Fuya's expectant look, the corners of Xiao Chun's lips curled up. He said, Of course I don't want to, Fuya. He was very happy to see Fuya's stunned look. Fuya, you're too naive. I don't like you. I never liked you. Before Fuya could react, he picked up the heart of divine power and swallowed it in one gulp. Feeling that his body was filled with incomparably powerful power, he smiled sincerely. Didn't you say that you were willing to give up everything for me? Fuya, what I want is not your love, but your heart of divine power. Isn't it written in the secret technique? Xiao Chun said with a smile. Seeing that Fuya still hadn't reacted, he continued, Before the secret technique is performed and before the oath is taken, as long as the person who shares the life force swallows the heart of divine power, then the heart of divine power will fuse with their heart. From then on, the heart of divine power will belong to that person, and all the divine power will also belong to that person. Fuya, I once asked you, and you said that you were willing to give up everything for me. I also asked you just now, and you said that you were willing, so I won't be polite. Fuya finally came back to her senses, because after performing the secret technique, her originally pale face became even paler than a piece of paper. Xiao Chun, you're joking, right? She didn't believe that all this was an illusion. She didn't believe it. They had been so loving these past few years. She still remembered that when they passed the test together, Xiao Chun was so firm to her. Otherwise, even with the protection of her divine power, Xiao Chun wouldn't have been able to pass the test. Xiao Chun. Fuya wanted to say something but was interrupted by Xiao Chun. Fuya, you don't have to ask anything else. I don't like you, I don't love you, and I don't plan to spend the rest of my life with you. I didn't plan to do anything to you, but you're too annoying. Fuya, the only person I like will always be Aguagua. How can that be? Fuya murmured, her eyes confused. No, even if you like Aguagua, there won't be a result. Xiao Chun, there won't be a result. Even if you have my heart of divine power and all my power, you can't deal with Aguagua. She's a golden-tailed mermaid. You can't deal with her. How could I bear to hurt Guagua? I just want to be with her forever and treat her well. Xiao Chun stood up and looked down at the extremely weak Fuya. Fuya, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have missed Aguagua and misunderstood her. Now that I've started all over again, I only have eyes and heart for her. As long as I can be with her, I'm willing to pay any price. Fuya, stay here. I'll let you out after my wedding with Guagua. Xiao Chun, you can't deal with her. You'll lose your life. She won't show mercy to you. Moreover, she has Yin Yao by her side. Xiao Chun, you can't provoke Yin Yao. Even if a guagua spares your life for my sake, Inyao won't let you go. Xiao Chen turned around and smiled. Fuya, if a guagua and I share our lives, she will never be able to leave my side. She can only be with me forever. What do you think Inyao can do to me? If he kills me, isn't that the same as killing guagua? Is he willing to do that? Fuya suddenly understood and looked sad. You're willing to pass the test with me and get the secret method to share our lives for a guagua, right? Chapter 1350. Fuya, you're finally smart for once. Xiao Chen turned and left the room, thinking that they should have sent a guagua to the desert without water. It was very fast to take a helicopter there. In the endless desert, given a guagua's current age, she would not be able to use her divine power for 3 days if she did not come into contact with water. When her life force was weak, he could use the secret technique to share life with her. From then on, she would never be able to leave his side. But because he was afraid of her remaining divine power, he could not deal with it. Fuya was so clingy, so he could only scheme to get Fuya's heart of God into his hands first. Fortunately, he and Fuya were very loving in his previous life, so he knew the secrets of the merfolk very well. But in his previous life, because of Aguagua's death, Fuya did not dare to bring him back to the merfolk. She was afraid that the king of the merfolk would find out that he had killed Aguagua. Naturally, he could not get the secret technique to share life. Speaking of which, it was also good. Otherwise, he would not have the chance to know the truth and would not be able to come back. Xiao Chan went to the cloakroom and changed into a very nice suit. When he went downstairs, he happened to see Fuya rushing out. Because he had swallowed the heart of God, his speed was very fast. In an instant, he moved in front of Fuya and grabbed her wrist. Fuya, what are you doing? Xiao Chen looked down at her. Are you going to tell on me? Don't you like me? Xiao Chen, it's not that simple. Aguagua is my father's favorite daughter. If you dare to do that, you will definitely be in danger, Fuya said sadly. Fuya said sadly, Xiao Chen, I like you. I really like you. Even if you want my heart of God, I still like you. Xiao Chen pursed his lips. Fuya, you are very naive. I don't like you. In fact, I hate and loathe you. Fuya, be good and go back. Even if I won't be with you, and you can't go back to the merfolk, as long as you are obedient, I will give you a place to live. Fuya's heart was stuffy and her eyes were sore. Aguagua once asked me if I would still like you if you hurt me. I finally have the answer. You hurt me like this, but why do I still like you? Freya, I'm not interested in listening to your nonsense. Go back. Fuya shook her head. Xiao Chun, I won't let you provoke Aguagua. You won't succeed. Even if you bring Aguagua to a place without water, as long as Yinyao wants to find her, he will find her very quickly. Also, Xiao Qin, if Guagua is unwilling, you won't be able to use the secret technique to share your life. Freya's face was already covered in tears. What do you mean by sharing life and divine power? It means that both people must be willing to do it at the same time. Xiao Chun, you're oversimplifying things. Once Imperial Father finds out about this, he will definitely take your life. I don't want to see you die. Give up. Aguagua is so noble. Do you mean that she's too noble and I'm not worthy of her? Xiao Chan was a little unhappy and narrowed his eyes. Fuya, you're really disobedient and tactless. Since that's the case, I can only lock you up so that you won't stop me and Guagua from being together again. He pulled Fuya's wrist. Fuya had lost her divine power and was no match for Xiao Chan. She was pulled back into the room. Xiao Chen found a metal chain from somewhere and locked her in the room. Then, he locked the room from the inside. Xiao Chen, you can't go. Fuya, the one who has the least right to stop me is you. Just wait to attend my wedding with Guagua. I want to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down, chat about life, find a confidant peak. Chapter 1351. After getting on the helicopter, not long after, Tangwa felt that the helicopter was flying in a different direction. The merfolk were not only sensitive to water, but also to temperature. Just by relying on the increasing temperature, how could she not realize that something was wrong with the direction the helicopter was flying in? Dear host, I've detected the front. We should be going to the desert now. Host, is Qiao Chen trying to deal with you? Maybe he wants to imprison me, or maybe he has other ways. Tangwa didn't care at all. To be honest, she had been waiting for this day for a long time. The desert was really good. Didn't Agwagwa die of thirst? In that case, he would let Qiao Chen experience the feeling of dying of thirst as well. She had never thought of letting Qiao Chen live. After flying for some time, the helicopter landed and she was placed in the desert. There were actually tents set up in this place with many things prepared inside. If she didn't know that Qiao Chen had ulterior motives, she might not have suspected anything and would have thought that there were some changes to the wedding. In the tent, everything was prepared except for water. Where's Fuya? Tangwa asked the staff. The staff was fiddling with the camera, as if they were really preparing for the wedding. There were not only photographers here, but also makeup artists and stylists. Everything looked so normal. Miss Agwagwa, there are some problems with Miss Fuya's side. She should be able to arrive the day after tomorrow. Tangwa held her chin and asked, will she be able to make it in time? Yes. President Xiao spent a lot of effort preparing for this wedding. He also wanted to give Miss Fuya a surprise, so he didn't tell Miss Agwagwa about this in advance. I hope you don't mind. Tangwa raised her eyebrows slightly. As expected of someone who had lived for a lifetime, he wouldn't give himself away until the end. Everything was arranged so that it looked real and wouldn't arouse anyone's suspicions at all. Based on her observation, these staff probably didn't know about Qiao Chen's conspiracy and really thought that he was preparing a surprise for Fuya. Qiao Chen was probably the only one who knew about this plan. The rest of the people were his pawns. It had to be said that Qiao Chen, who had lived for another lifetime, was more resourceful and sinister than in his previous life. Oh, then can you get me a glass of water? I'm a little thirsty after flying for a few hours. Okay, Miss Guagua, please wait a moment. The staff member didn't think there was anything wrong with this request. Naturally, he wanted to pour some water for Tangwa. According to Tangwa's guess, the other party would soon realize that there was no water in the things they had prepared. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, the staff came back with a long face. Miss Agwagwa, I'm sorry. I brought too many things and fell into the water. However, he wasn't worried at all because this place was only a few hours away from the nearest city. There would be a lot of people coming over. As long as he made a call and asked them to bring some water over, there wouldn't be a problem. Under normal circumstances, this was possible. We've already informed the people over there. When they come over, they will definitely bring more over. Tangwa nodded. I'll have to trouble you then. One day later, Tangwa asked them about water again. The staff member's mouth was dry as he said, Miss Agwagwa, it seems that there's an accident with the weather over there, so we can't come over for the time being. Oh, I want to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting role, calm down, talk about life, and find a confidant peak. Chapter 1352. The next day, there was no water. On the third day, the group of people stopped working. If they hadn't found some fruit, they might have really died. Everyone had a bitter look on their faces. At this time, Qiao Chen finally arrived in a helicopter. The moment Qiao Chen appeared, Tangwa felt that the surroundings were covered by a layer of divine power. She was a little surprised. When Qiao Chen appeared in front of her, she finally understood. It turned out that Qiao Chen had swallowed Fuya's heart of divine power. Agwagwa. Qiao Chen walked up to Tangwa with a smile on his face and asked in a low voice, Agwagwa, are you okay? What do you think? Tangwa hadn't been short of water these days. She had brought a lot of water. However, she still looked weak on the surface. Seeing Qiao Chen's smug look, she was a little amused. This person was still a little arrogant now. He thought that after being reborn and obtaining the heart of divine power, he could really cover the sky with one hand. Agwagwa, share a life with me, okay? Qiao Chen said affectionately. Okay. Agwagwa, let's go down together and live and die together. Let's start over. Agwagwa, I will treat you well. What about Fuya? Qiao Chen smiled. I've never liked Fuya. Agwagwa, I like you and only want to be with you. I don't want to share a life with her. I came back only to be with you, Agwagwa. You took away Fuya's heart of divine power. I did all this for you, Agwagwa. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't be able to be with you. Xiao Chun seemed to be possessed. I did all this to be with you. I didn't want you to leave me, so I had to do this. Tangwa smiled. Fuya likes you very much. I know, but I don't like her. She said it herself that she was willing to do anything for me, Xiao Chun said coldly. Then I took away her heart of divine power. Agwagwa, don't be deceived by her appearance. Fuya is the best liar. She is the most hypocritical mermaid. Only you are the most pure and kind. Do you like me very much? Tangwa asked. Of course. Xiao Chen answered without hesitation. If I didn't like you, why would I take the risk to do all this? I even went through the dangerous test with Fuya and obtained the secret method to share life. It's all because I want to be with you forever. So you're saying that you're willing to do anything for me because you like me? Xiao Chen answered without hesitation. Yes, I'm willing to do anything for you. Really? Tangwa asked with a smile. System, something's not right. Really, I won't lie to you. Xiao Chun was overjoyed. He thought that everything he had done had finally moved her. He had already made up his mind to be with her regardless of whether he could move her heart or not. Since she saw his sincerity, that was the best. If she didn't agree, he would have to find another way. In the end, Agwagwa would definitely agree to be with him. Tangwa rested her chin on her hand. Xiao Chun, be it in our previous life or this life, you've always been selfish. In our previous life, you lost weight because of Fuya. Without saying anything, you tricked me into going to a barren mountain, causing me to die of thirst. In this life, you know the truth of your previous life. You abandoned Fuya, who liked you so much, and came to me to express your sincerity. I want to chat with more like-minded people about crossover. Female supporting character, calm down. Talk about life. Find a confidant, peak. Chapter 1353. Tangwa's expression was mocking. Although you like me very much, Xiao Chun, how can I accept you after how you treated me in your previous life? Xiao Chun was stunned. Previous life and current life? Had Agwagwa been reborn too? No, how could that be? She had never shown any hostility toward him. How could she be reborn? But if she wasn't reborn, how did she know all that and that he had killed her with his own hands? Xiao Chen, I won't be with the real murderer who killed me, Tangwa said very seriously. Even in my previous life, I didn't like you, let alone in this life. No, Agwagwa, I was wrong. It was all because of Fuya. If Fuya hadn't lied to me, I definitely wouldn't have treated you like that. Xiao Chen quickly defended himself. Agwagwa, believe me. It's really painful for me to know the truth. Ever since I came back, I've been thinking about how to make it up to you every day. Agwagwa, if you really can't vent your anger, I'll go back immediately and return all the things I did to you to Fuya. I'll let her experience what it feels like to die of thirst. Tangwa lowered her eyes and sneered. Xiao Chen, Fuya was just lying. Even if a normal person believed what she said, they wouldn't kill me. Why do you want to push all the blame onto Fuya and think that she should be the one who should be punished? Xiao Chan was a little flustered when he was stared at by those clear eyes. He said, if it wasn't for Fuya, I wouldn't have believed her words and hurt you. Did Fuya ask you to kill me? Xiao Chun was speechless. Of course, Fuya didn't ask him to kill Agwagwa. Fuya just wants you to stay away from me. Tangwa said, Xiao Chen, you killed me in your previous life. You should be the one to be punished. You were the one who tried to kill me, so you should be the one to suffer the same thing, not Fuya. Agwagwa, what do you mean? Xiao Chen frowned. Tangwa pursed her lips and smiled. She looked bright and beautiful, and her voice was bewitching as she said, didn't you want to make it up to me and say that you know you were wrong? After all, you're the one who killed me. I can't bring myself to like you now. Why don't you die in front of me and let me vent my anger? What do you think? System. He knew it would be like this. Agwagwa, you, who knows, maybe I'll sympathize with you when you're in so much pain. In the end, I'll really forgive you and even like you. Tangua's words were bewitching. Xiao Chen, if you really like me, then die in front of me. System. I can't afford to offend this bad woman. Xiao Chun stood in front of Tangua, struggling. Xiao Chen, don't you like me anymore? No, Guogua, I like you. I really like you. Xiao Chen hurriedly defended himself. How could he not like Aguagua? The person he liked should be Aguagua. In his previous life, it was because of Freya's appearance and Freya's lies that they missed each other. He liked Aguagua. Chapter 1354. Why seal the heart of God? Xiao Chen asked warily. Then you won't be affected by the divine power. You'll die of thirst. Tangua answered patiently. If you have the heart of God, you won't die of thirst for a while. Without it, you'll die of thirst in a few days. Why? You don't want to? Seeing Xiao Chen hesitate, Tangua asked, Do you not like me? Was everything you said just now a lie? No, Guogua, I like you. Then I'll seal the heart of God for you. That way, you can die of thirst in front of me. Xiao Chen nodded. Okay. Tangua pursed her lips and smiled. It seems that you really like me. Xiao Chun was delighted. He thought that Tangua couldn't bear to see him die of thirst. When she saw his sincerity, her heart would soften and she would share her life with him. She would be willing to be with him forever. Tangua sealed the heart of God so that Xiao Chun could no longer use his divine power. She looked at Xiao Chen indifferently. Now, let's go outside to a place where only the two of us are. I want to watch you die of thirst in front of me. Hearing that there would only be the two of them, Xiao Chun didn't want to think too much. In his impression, Guogua was kind, pure, and cute. How could she really make him die of thirst? This must be a test that Guogua gave him. As long as he was willing to accept the test and pass it, then they could be together. His rebirth was to change the fate between him and Guogua. She was his little mermaid. She deserved his love. They were supposed to be together. Tangua took Xiao Chun to a place far away from the tent. It was very hot in the desert. She pointed to an empty space. Xiao Chen, you can go there. I want to sit here and watch you die of thirst. Guogua, since this is what you want, I'll die for you. Xiao Chen still didn't think that Guogua could bear for him to die. Now that his heart of God had been sealed, if she really wanted him to die, why didn't she just kill him? Why did she have to use this method of dying of thirst? It could be seen that she was just angry. She said that she didn't like him in her previous life. If she didn't like him, why did she explain it in front of him so many times? So, Guogua liked him. It was just that she was angry now and wanted to see him in pain. She was a kind and pure mermaid, or a soft-hearted mermaid. When she saw him in pain, she would definitely forgive him for what he had done in his previous life. After all, those things did not happen in this life. Just like that, Xiao Chen stood Guogua's S. In his mind, he kept thinking about the happy days he would have with Tangua in the future. Tangua found a place and laid out a cushion. She propped her chin up and looked at Xiao Chun, who was dizzy from the scorching sun. Not long after, Xiao Chen's face was flushed red from the sun, and he felt a little dizzy. Sweat flowed down his cheeks and dripped onto the desert. He opened his eyelids and saw Tangua looking straight at him. He gritted his teeth and continued to persevere. Host, are you really planning to make him die of thirst? The system didn't sympathize with Xiao Chen. It was just curious. Tangua's lips curved. Didn't he say that he likes me? I'm still angry. He wants to use this method to prove his love for me and dispel my anger. Can't he do that? I want to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1355. Yes, he can. I'm just curious. Can he persevere? The system had already seen through it. Actually, I don't think Xiao Chen is the kind of person who is willing to lose his life for the person he likes. Let's wait and see then. A day passed. Xiao Chen had been under the sun for an entire day and had not drunk any water. He was already squatting on the ground and looked like he was about to die. His gaze landed on Tangua, and he said hoarsely, Agwagwa, is that enough? What? Tangwa asked in shock. What do you mean by enough? Xiao Chun, aren't you going to die of thirst in front of me? What are you asking? Don't you want to atone for your sins? No, I don't. Xiao Chun continued to persevere. In fact, in just a short day, he had the thought of giving up. He didn't want to die. The taste of living was too good. Especially when he saw Tangwa's indifference, he was a little regretful. In a moment of impulse, he agreed to use such a method to dissipate her anger. Actually, as long as he was alive, he would definitely have all kinds of ways to make her forgive him and be willing to be with him, wouldn't he? Moreover, this was the desert. If she didn't have water and her divine power was weak, she wouldn't be a match for him. Perhaps he could use other methods to make her complete the life-sharing ritual with him. Why did he have to use such an extreme method to show his love for Agwagwa? The next day, Xiao Chun was so exhausted that he had no strength left. This time, his heart was filled with endless regret. Agwagwa, do you really want me to die? Xiao Chun said with a pained expression. Do you hate me so much that you can't wait for me to die? Tangwa said strangely, your words are very strange. Facing my mortal enemy, I don't want you to die. Do I want you to live a long life? Xiao Chen's expression was pained. I'm already like this. Do you still think it's not enough? How can that be? Tangwa said coldly. Aren't you not dead yet? Since you're not dead, then wait obediently for your death. Only when you're dead will I feel relieved and happy. Seeing you in pain makes me very happy. Xiao Chen carefully looked at Tangwa's face and realized that she was telling the truth. Agwagwa you, no? Tangwa took out an ice cream and ate it. How could I possibly like a scumbag like you? Didn't you say you liked me? Do you want to atone for your sins? There's no need to talk nonsense. You dying of thirst in front of me is my greatest hope. Seeing you die in pain will only make me happy. Aren't you sad at all? Gwagwa, how can you be so cruel to me? I love you so much. Is there something wrong with your brain? Tangwa felt goosebumps all over her body. I can't tell that you like me. Xiao Chun, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and die. Xiao Chun only saw coldness and heartlessness in Tangwa's eyes. He was finally sure that she wanted him dead. He wanted to move, but because he hadn't drunk or eaten anything for nearly 2 days, his body was extremely weak. At the same time, the heart of God in his body had also been sealed by the other party, rendering it completely useless. If this continued, he would really die. But he didn't want to die. He hadn't gotten a Gwagwa yet and hadn't been with her. Even if she was cold and heartless to him, she had saved him. She would always be his little mermaid. He could only have her as long as he was alive. So, he wanted to live. I want to chat with more like-minded people about. Chapter 1356. Agwagwa. On the third day, Xiao Chun was already extremely weak, as if he was going to die at any moment. Agwagwa, I want to live with you. So, you don't want to die, but I'm still angry. Tangwa smiled and said, or do you just want to live? Xiao Chun, do you want to live more? Or do you like me more? Tangwa asked again. Think about it. Do you like yourself more? Or do you like me more? Do you want to live? Or do you want to die for me? Xiao Chun was silent. The sun was scorching in the sky. Xiao Chun only felt darkness in front of his eyes. The feeling of death assaulted him. It was as if the god of death was going to take his soul away at any time. Infinite fear made him shout in a hoarse voice, I want to live. I want to live. Let me live. The fear of death took over everything. At this moment, his heart was exposed. Compared to liking a Gwagwa, he preferred living and liking himself more. Oh, I see. Tangwa's face was cold and heartless. And then? Let me live. I don't like you anymore, Xiao Chun said in fear. He didn't want to die. He really didn't want to die. Agwagwa, I want to live. I won't pester you anymore. Of course not. Everything had to wait until he lived. He wanted to live, and he wanted Agwagwa. As long as he lived, he would have everything. He regretted listening to her bewitchment and putting himself in a situation of death. Do you feel that your body is in pain now? You're so close to death and you're very afraid? Tangwa smiled and looked at Xiaochun. I've experienced what you're experiencing now, so you can slowly experience it. I've already said it, Aguagua. I don't like you anymore. I want to live. So what? I want you to die. Tangwa burst into laughter. You're really naive. I've said it from the beginning. I want you to die. Xiaochun was getting more and more afraid, but he didn't want to die. A helicopter flew over from afar. The helicopter landed not far away. Fuya, who was wearing a blue dress, jumped down and ran over. Pei Jiang and Yin Yao also followed along. Yin Yao came to Tangwa's side and held her in his arms. He asked in a low voice, "Little mermaid, are you done playing? You're playing such a dangerous game, yet you won't let me follow you. I'm really worried." If Tangwa hadn't sent him a message midway, telling him not to come over immediately, Yin Yao would have lost his temper long ago. In order to satisfy her thoughts, he held himself back. The heart of God belonged to Freya. Even though Xiaochun had swallowed it, she could still vaguely sense that Xiaochun was in danger. In order to break free from the chains, Freya used the last of her divine power left in her body. She was the one who begged Yin Yao to temporarily use his divine power to help her transform her legs. Of course, he had told his little mermaid about this matter. It was only when the little mermaid agreed that he helped Fuya. Xiaochun, how are you? Fuya ran to Xiaochun's side and helped him up. Xiaochun, are you okay? Tangwa looked at all this coldly. So, scumbags were spoiled by this kind of lovey-dovey woman. No matter what a scumbag did, a woman with a lovey-dovey brain would forgive him. No matter how he hurt her. As long as the scumbag said that he was wrong and wanted to change, this kind of woman would forgive him. Now, Xiaochun was completely cold and heartless to Freya. He was even cruel. She was still infatuated with him. What a joke. I want to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down, chat about life, find a confidant peak. Chapter 1357. Xiaochun opened his eyes and saw Fuya. He quickly held her hand. Fuya, are you still willing to share life with me? Of course, Xiaochun. Of course I'm willing. Then let's complete the final ritual right away, okay? Fuya quickly nodded and was about to speak when Tangwa interrupted. Fuya, he doesn't love you. Aguagua, I love him. System, host, don't be angry. I'm not angry. Tangwa lowered her eyes and smiled. She's just a mermaid who betrayed the mermaid clan. Why would I be angry? I just like a scum, and she's my enemy. Why would I care about her? Although her existence hinders my revenge. Freya had already begun to use her secret technique when she was instantly interrupted by Tangwa. Aguagua, you have no right to stop me and Xiaochun from loving each other. You also have no right to stop me and Xiaochun from sharing our lives. Tangwa smiled as she walked up to the two of them. She placed her hand on Xiaochun's chest. No one knew what she did, but the heart of God fell into her hands. Freya, you've used up all of your divine power, and you don't have a God power heart. Right now, your lifespan isn't as long as Xiaochun's. She looked at Xiaochun. Now, do you still want to share your life with Freya? That will reduce your lifespan. Xiaochun, then we won't share our lives. Before Xiaochun could say anything, Fuya spoke up. She hugged Xiaochun and said, "It's okay. I don't have any God power or God power heart. I still have you. Xiaochun, as long as I'm alive, I'll definitely protect you and not let anyone hurt you." Pei Jiang looked at Xiaochun's gloomy eyes and opened his mouth. He wanted to say something, but when he thought of Fuya's persistence, he didn't say anything in the end. Since you two love each other so much, I'll give you a chance to walk out of here. Wasn't it just a desert? It wasn't that they couldn't get out. In the desert, there were desert plants that could sustain life. If they were lucky, they might even find a water source. Freya raised her head. Aguagua, you're too cruel. Cruel? Tangwa didn't want to talk nonsense with Fuya anymore. She took out a golden millet dream from the system space and fed it to Fuya. Freya instantly closed her eyes and began a journey of golden millet dream. Naturally, she saw that she had told a lie in her previous life. causing Guagua to be cruelly tied up in a barren mountain by Qiao Qian and die of thirst. She also saw how Qiao Qian looked like he wanted to strangle her to death after learning the truth. Fuya opened her eyes. Guagua, I'm sorry. I'm willing to take responsibility for my words and actions. I'm willing to apologize with my death. Please let Qiao Qian go. This is all my fault. If it weren't for my lies, you wouldn't have suffered such cruelty. I'm the one who made all the mistakes, so impossible. Don't try to move me with your one-sided infatuation, because your infatuation is just a joke in my eyes. I'm not you. I can't empathize with you. I can't understand why you like this scum. In your eyes, he's the best. In my eyes, he's the real murderer who killed me. Don't think that you like him. You can forgive him and atone for his sins. I have to agree. Moral coercion isn't like this. Tangwa looked down at the two of them. All right, you two can walk out of the desert yourselves. As long as you can walk out of the desert, I promise I won't take your lives. I want to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Talk about life. Find a confidant, peak. Chapter 1358. Qiao Qian and Fuya would naturally not hold the life-sharing ceremony again. Whether Qiao Qian was willing or not, Fuya would not be willing because she liked Qiao Qian too much. After Tangwa said that, she really held Yin Yao's hand and left in the helicopter. Pei Jiang stood there in a daze for a while. Finally, he said to Fuya, Fuya, Qiao Qian doesn't like you. I like him. Fuya smiled and said, I just like him. What happened to Guagua in the past was all my fault. It has nothing to do with him. I will definitely bring him out of the desert. Guagua, I hope you mean what you said. When I bring him out of the desert, you must keep your promise and not hurt Qiao Qian again. Tangwa turned back and nodded with a smile. Don't worry. As long as he can walk out of the desert, I won't kill him. I will definitely bring him out, Fuya said seriously. Even if I don't have God power, I lied to him in my previous life and made him be with me. In this life, I will use my own efforts and sincerity to make him be with me willingly. Tangwa chuckled and didn't pay any attention to him. She didn't understand Fuya's infatuation and didn't want to understand. She only knew that Qiao Qian was her enemy. She was unhappy that she didn't torture Qiao Qian. As for Fuya, she was also her enemy. She only wanted to personally tear her beautiful dream and the beautiful love that she thought she had given. She wasn't a good person. She felt that she couldn't vent her anger. Of course, she had to think of a way to make her enemy unlucky, uncomfortable, unhappy, sad, and heartbroken. Only then would she feel comfortable. Guagua, you looked so ferocious and vicious just now. So cute. Yin Yao held Tangwa's face and kissed it. System. What a strange aesthetic. Tangwa was amused. Do you want me to show you how ferocious and vicious I am? No. As long as you don't show me this face, it's the cutest. Yin Yao quickly tried to salvage the situation. I don't wish for you to show me this kind of expression one day. Because if you show me this kind of expression, it must mean that I did something wrong and hurt you. Tangwa looked at Pei Jiang sitting opposite her with a sullen face. He looked down at the desert from time to time and said, Do you regret it? Do you want to go down to accompany them? No need. Pei Jiang shuddered. What kind of question was this? I regret it. I regret that I didn't fight for myself before this. Perhaps if Fuya experienced the feelings of another person, she wouldn't be so infatuated with Qiao Qian. The reason why he was so calm now was because Tangwa had told him that she would not take Fuya's life. He believed in Tangwa. Even if he didn't believe it, he had to believe it. He was just an ordinary person. He couldn't deal with the mermaid clan, nor could he deal with the silver dragon next to him. Don't worry, Fuya won't die. I never thought of taking her life. Tangwa looked at the clouds outside the window. I just want to tear her dreams apart. This is my revenge. I want to destroy the most beautiful love in her heart. Pei Jiang thought that it was quite cruel. She was such a cruel woman, but she had such an innocent face. What about Qiao Qian? Pei Jiang asked instinctively. He felt that Tangwa's words about letting Qiao Qian off weren't credible. Tangwa turned around and smiled. I said, I want him to die. Are you going to stop me? Can you stop me? Pei Jiang smiled bitterly. Unfortunately, he also ate that unrealized dream. He also dreamed of everything that had happened and knew how Qiao Chen treated her. She was just taking revenge. He didn't have the right to stop her. He was too weak to stop her. Chapter 1359. Qiao Chen, I will definitely bring you out. Trust me. Qiao Chen nodded gently and let Fuya support him. Almost half of his weight fell on Fuya's body. Seeing that Fuya refused to admit defeat, Qiao Chen's heart did not waver. Fuya was doing this because she wanted to get his sincerity and love. No, he would not give this lying mermaid any love. Even if Aguagua was so cruel to him, at least she was honest. She said that she hated him, and wanted him dead. She was telling the truth. As for Fuya, he was really not sure which of her words were true and which were false. But now, he just wanted to get out alive. He also wanted Aguagua. Since Aguagua knew about his previous life, then he could only use other methods to get her. After a day, Fuya was already exhausted and her entire face was red from the sun. If it weren't for Yin Yao's help, her tail would probably have revealed its true form by now. Qiao Chen, take a break. Qiao Chen was a little impatient, but he still stopped. After resting for a while, they continued walking. Fuya found all the green plants they encountered during this period and gave them to Qiao Chen. She had said that she must bring him out. However, Qiao Chen did not think about Fuya at all when he found something to satisfy his hunger. He ate all of it himself. Fuya's expression became more and more unsightly. Qiao Chen looked fine, but Fuya did not admit defeat. She thought that one day, Qiao Chen would understand how much she loved him. One day, Qiao Chen would see how good she was. For him, she could even give up her life. Qiao Chen seemed to not see that anything he encountered, as long as it could help him get out, he would use it himself. He never thought of sharing it with Fuya. With perseverance and the things they found, the two of them walked in the desert for 5 days. During this period, they encountered many dangers. Fuya did not care about her own life to protect Qiao Chen. Qiao Chen looked at her scarred appearance and said coldly, Fuya, even if you do this for me, I won't be moved because I don't like you. Even if Aguagua is cruel to me, I still like her. She is the mermaid who saved me ashore. You have been lying to me. Qiao Chen. Fuya's tears couldn't stop flowing. There's no need to say anything more. I just want to walk out. Qiao Chen said, if you can't walk anymore, I won't care about you. I don't want to bring someone who's a burden. Fuya's eyes were sore. She couldn't say that she was the one who saved him in this life. She felt her heart ache. Why was it that after all her hard work, Qiao Chen still couldn't turn back? Even if he didn't like her, he shouldn't be so cold to her, okay? 10 days later, Fuya could no longer walk. She was a mermaid, and the divine power that Yin Yao had given her had disappeared. Her tail was exposed, making it impossible for her to walk in the desert. Qiao Chen's expression darkened as he broke free from Fuya's grip. Fuya, I'm sorry. I have to give up on you. Qiao Chen, Fuya shouted. Do you really not like me at all? I don't. Freya's face was full of tears. Do you really like Aguagua, or is it because she saved you? What if the person who saved you was me? But you didn't save me. Qiao Chen pushed Fuya away and slowly walked forward. Fuya was already a burden. They couldn't walk out with her. There was no need for him to sacrifice his life for someone he didn't like. He said softly, that's how it should be. No matter where you are, Aguagua must be good to yourself. If I'm not good enough, you'll kill me. Brother Yao has always been very obedient. Tangua laughed. She hugged his neck and kissed his cheek. I hope you can always be like this. At least, before they awakened all their memories, he had better be obedient. She would be good to him. The desert was dyed red. Qiao Chen left happily with a few pieces of Fuya's flesh and a bottle of fresh blood. Fuya lay on the ground. She didn't make a sound, waiting for death to come. If there is a next life, Fuya wants to be a person without love. I will never yearn for love again. Chapter 1361. Fuya felt that the blood in her body was about to run dry, and her body was numb from the pain. Her heart, which was riddled with holes, no longer felt anything. She lay on the hot desert, looking at the white clouds floating in the sky. Her expression was blank, and her eyes were lifeless, without the slightest bit of life. She was going to die, right? That's good. She would be free if she died. The sound of shoes stepping on the sand could not make Fuya lift her eyelids. Maybe it was an illusion. How could someone come to this place? It must be her illusion. Whether it was an illusion or not, whether someone came or not, Fuya didn't think it was important. Because the person who came could not be the ruthless person who stabbed her with a knife, drank her blood, and ate her flesh. Fuya. Pei Jiang looked at Fuya's painful appearance, walked to her side, squatted down, and picked her up. I'll take you out. Fuya did not make a sound. She stared blankly ahead and did not resist, allowing Pei Jiang to take her away. Agwagwa, can I take Fuya away? Pei Jiang asked. Fuya was a mermaid and the daughter of the Mermaid King. Even though he had already abandoned the mermaid clan, he still had to ask Tanghua if he could take her away. You can take her away, Tanghua said. She is not qualified to return to the mermaid clan. What happens in the future has nothing to do with the mermaid clan. The grudge between her and me has been settled. Fuya, let me take care of you from now on. Pei Jiang looked a little distressed. Originally, he had some sympathy for Qiao Chun. When he saw Qiao Chun stabbing Fuya's flesh with a sharp knife, drinking her blood and eating her flesh in order to save his own life. He didn't know about the others, but he could see how much Fuya loved Qiao Chun. Fuya loved Qiao Chun and was even willing to give up her life. Before, he still doubted Agwagwa in his heart. Even if she didn't like Qiao Chun, even if many things had happened in her previous life, and everything had changed in this life, there was no need to do this. Now, he no longer thought that way. He finally understood the pain that Agwagwa had suffered. Qiao Chun tied Agwagwa to a barren mountain and let her die of thirst. Even if he ate a dream of unrealized millet and dreamed of everything from his previous life, he still couldn't understand how Agwagwa felt. When he saw how Fuya was treated by Qiao Chan, he understood. At that moment, he wished he could jump down and stab Qiao Chun in the heart. He wished he could eat his flesh, drink his blood, press him into the desert, and bury him here forever. He finally understood the saying that if the pain did not happen to him, he would never be able to experience that kind of pain. He loved Fuya. Thus, he finally experienced the feeling of being hurt by Fuya and being in pain in his heart. Thank you. Pei Jiang thanked him. At the same time, he said sorry in his heart. He carried Fuya into the helicopter. As for Qiao Chun, who was still struggling in the endless desert, he no longer thought of pleading for him. Qiao Chun, let him die here. Pei Jiang carefully hugged Fuya and comforted her softly. Fuya, I'll take care of you in the future. I won't let you get hurt again. Tanghua also got into the helicopter and looked at Pei Jiang's doting expression. Pei Jiang, she can't love anyone anymore. It's okay. It's fine as long as I love her. Pei Jiang looked up and said, It's always been my wishful thinking. I don't need her to respond. I wish you happiness. Tanghua did not mock Pei Jiang's actions. Fuping Chinese The Summit. Chapter 1362. Pei Jiang didn't expect to receive Tanghua's blessings. Thank you. I thought she would laugh at him for being a fool. Fuya was a mermaid. Human medical treatment was useless for her. As long as she was given more water, she could slowly recover. However, without the heart of God, her lifespan might only be that of a human. Tanghua took out the heart of God and asked Fuya, Your heart of God? She handed the heart of God to Pei Jiang. This thing was useless to her. She only took it out when she saw how careful Pei Jiang was. Freya felt the divine power coming from the heart of divine power gradually recovering her body. Her dazed eyes finally regained some luster. After a long time, She felt that most of her strength had recovered. She raised her head and looked at Agwagwa. Agwagwa, what? Do you have something to say? Can I trouble you to bring the divine power heart back to my mother? Fuya buried her head. I don't want it anymore. Living is too painful. With the heart of God, I will have to live for at least 1,000 years. I don't want to live that long. She was looking forward to her next life. Have you thought it through? I have. I don't want to live a long life. The longer she lived, the more pain she would feel. In the end, Tangwa agreed to Fuya's request. She brought the heart of God back to the mermaid tribe and returned it to Fuya's mother. The helicopter took them away from the endless desert. Pei Jiang left with Fuya in his arms. Yin Yao held Tangwa's hand and brought her back to his villa. As soon as they entered the house, he hugged her tightly and whispered in her ear, Agwagwa, I don't want to live forever either. Fuya is desperate for love, but I am full of hope for love. You are right. The sooner we die, the sooner we will meet in our next life. Brother Yao, do you have to be so cute? Tangwa couldn't hold it in anymore. She hugged him and kissed him several times. Brother Yao, you're so cute. I'll give you all my time. Yin Yao was satisfied. This was what he had been waiting for. Agwagwa, come back to the Dragon Palace with me. Okay? Okay. Okay. I'll do as you say, Tangwa said with a smile. I'll only listen to Brother Yao for the next few years, okay? Yin Yao's heart was filled with joy. Even though he couldn't make an ostentatious smile in his eyes, there was an unconcealable smile at the corners of his mouth. All right. Tangwa first took Yin Yao and Fuya's heart of divine power back to the Mermaid clan and told the Mermaid King and Fuya's mother about Fuya's matter. The Mermaid King was furious. Fuya's mother was also heartbroken. She immediately begged the Mermaid King to teach Qiao Chen a lesson and not let him die so easily. My Fuya, my poor Fuya. Fuya's mother held the blue heart of divine power and cried with tears streaming down her face. My poor Fuya. She only yearned for beautiful love. Why did she meet such a beast like Qiao Chen? Fuya's mother wanted to bring Fuya back to the Mermaid clan. Since Fuya didn't share her life with a human and was hurt, the Mermaid clan's members weren't merciful. The members of the Merfolk clan were not harsh. They were very sympathetic to Freya's experience. If she was brought back, no one would have much of an opinion. However, in the end, Fuya didn't come back with them. This meant that she didn't want to live as long as the Mermaid clan. She also didn't have the face to come back. Fupin Chinese Vertex. Chapter 1363. Fuya's mother had no choice but to let Fuya do as she pleased. The Merfolk clan was furious at Qiao Chen's actions. Knowing that Qiao Chen was still in the desert, they pleaded with the king of the Merfolk clan not to let Qiao Chen walk out of the desert. Although Fuya was at fault for being treated like that, it was more Qiao Chen's fault. This heartless human made the king of the Merfolk clan very angry. He contacted the other clans living in the desert and used the treasures at the bottom of the sea to make a request to them. They would never let Qiao Chen walk out of the desert. But they also did not want him to die. They wanted him to spend the rest of his life in torment. The other clans in the desert had obtained the treasures they needed and were naturally happy to torture Qiao Chen. Later, when they vaguely heard what Qiao Chen had done, they were even more rude to him. And at first, after leaving Fuya, Qiao Chen walked for several days with a bottle of Fuya's blood and a few pieces of Fuya's flesh, but he still could not walk out of the desert. Later, for some reason, the desert changed greatly. He lost his way and could not walk out no matter how hard he tried. But he did not give up. Fortunately, there were still things in the desert that could satisfy his hunger. Whether it was the grass that grew in the sand that did not have much water or the insects that crawled around in the sand. As long as it was edible, he would get it to eat. Just like that, after a few months, he had become thin and his skin had become dark. It was impossible to tell that he used to be handsome. In the endless desert, even if he could not walk out, he did not seem to starve to death. But there was no one around, nothing. At night, he sat on the sand and stared blankly at the sky, a little dazed. And looking at the tattered clothes on his body, he did not know how long he had been in the desert. In such a desolate place on a cold night, His mind was actually thinking about the days when Fuya had been by his side all these years. Was Fuya not good? No, Fuya was very good. Whether it was in his previous life or this life, Fuya was the best to him. She gave him her whole heart and thought of everything for him. For him, Fuya was even willing to give up her life. Even if he took away her heart of God, Fuya still liked him. In the end, Fuya was even willing to take him out of the desert. It was he who despised Fuya for being a burden and abandoned her. Only when he was lonely and quiet at night would his mind be clear. Only in the most bitter, uncomfortable, and lonely times would one recall the most beautiful things in one's life as a form of consolation. Only when you lose something would you understand what you should cherish. Only in the end would one understand what was best. Xiao Chen lay on the sand, allowing the wind to blow the sand up and cover his body. He opened his eyes and allowed the sand to blow in, not moving at all. At this moment, Guogua's appearance was already blurred in his mind, and all he could see was Freya's smile. All the smiles that belonged to Freya from his previous life and this life appeared in his mind one by one. Xiao Chun, who had been wandering in the desert for almost a year, cried. Their cries were heart-wrenching and lung-splitting as they wailed miserably. He recalled Fuya's smile, the way she looked at him with love and concern, and finally, the way she looked at him in the end. Xiao Chun was a little tired. He recalled Fuya's smile, slowly closed his eyes, and fell asleep. When he fell asleep, he had a dream. In his dream, there was him, Freya, and the sea. Fuping Chinese Vertex. Chapter 1364. In his dream, he saw himself being hit by the waves on a rock. Guogua did not appear as she did in his previous life. The weak him lay on the rock and was blown by the wind all night. The next day, he had a high fever and was exposed to the sun for half a day. At this moment, a blue mermaid curiously lay by the rock. As if confirming something, she turned around and jumped into the sea. Not long after, she came back and fed him medicine. Then, the blue mermaid brought him to the shore closest to humans and stayed by his side until he woke up. Xiao Chun remembered that it was when he was reborn. Seeing that it was Fuya, he subconsciously thought that Fuya had taken a fancy to him and lied to him that she had saved him, hiding the existence of a Guagua. Therefore, he turned around and left with a gloomy face, completely ignoring Fuya, who called out to him from behind, told him her name, and even asked for his name. After that, it was the days he spent with Fuya. Fuya loved him wholeheartedly, but he was thinking about how to be with a Guagua. In the end, it was the scene of him cutting Fuya's flesh with a knife with his own hands. He even ate Fuya's flesh and drank Fuya's blood. At this point, Xiao Chun was suddenly woken up. He looked at the sky blankly. The sky was about to brighten. He touched his wet face and burst into tears. Fuya, Fuya, I'm sorry. Xiao Chen's cries were filled with infinite sorrow and despair. Anyone who heard it would feel sad. Xiao Chen lay on the ground, vomiting in pain. He put his hand into his mouth, as if he wanted to dig out all the meat in his stomach. He put his hand into his throat and clenched it with all his might. How could he eat Fuya's flesh and drink Fuya's blood? How could he do that? It must not be him. It must be the devil. He must be possessed by the devil. After vomiting for a long time, Xiao Chun was a little exhausted. He found something in the desert to satisfy his hunger and followed the direction he had been walking in this year. He wanted to go back to find Fuya. He would definitely find Fuya. Fuya was a mermaid. How could she die? She definitely wouldn't die. Xiao Chun is dead. Tanghua came to Pei Zhang's house and looked at Fuya, who was soaking in a huge water tank. Fuya's blue tail was dim. At this time, she looked like an ordinary mermaid. Pei Zhang looked at Fuya with eyes full of love. While combing Freya's hair, he raised his head and asked, "Oh, is he dead?" "Yes." Tanghua felt that Fuya didn't seem to care. "I was just passing by and wanted to tell you that I'm leaving." Pei Zhang paused. "You're not coming anymore?" "I'm not coming." Tanghua smiled faintly. "I don't have much time left. I want to spend the rest of my time with Brother Yao." Pei Zhang was stunned. "There's not much time left? What's going on? Wasn't it said that the golden-tailed mermaid clan had supreme divine power, and as long as their divine power didn't dissipate, they could survive for a long time? It's fate. Tangwa pursed her lips and smiled. All right, I'm leaving. She glanced at Fuya. You've taken good care of her. I'm doing it willingly. Pei Jiang smiled happily. He said that regardless of whether Fuya liked him or would respond to him, as long as she still needed him, he was willing to take care of her. He regretted that he didn't fight for her back then. If he had treated Fuya well earlier and let her experience true love, perhaps Fuya wouldn't have been hurt by Qiao Chen. Fupin Chinese Vertex, you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.